Hello, this is Yannis from AnyRepair. Today we will go through a diagnosis that will involve a notebook, an IdeaPad 3 Lenovo with a Ryzen CPU. We're going and check and diagnose the Ryzen architecture in order to find out what is the fault. Stay with us. This is the notebook. I have already removed the plastic cover. And I have already done the BIOS because my power supply is stuck in 60 milliamps. It is a Ryzen, of course, CPU, as you can see, with all the problems that come with the Ryzen CPU when the notebook is dead. So the situation is that when I plug my charger and hit the power button, the charger, oh, the notebook is coming on with a blinking power button and 50 to 60 milliamps. My power supply is stuck in 60 milliamps now, but I cannot handle this at the moment. Later I will do it, and it's not coming on. The BIOS is already being flashed, and nothing helped this computer. Let's go and see what is going on with the voltages. If the coils are having some voltage or not. We can see that we're having 0.9 volts. Here we're having the 0.2 volts for the VRAM, from the RAM, sorry. And we are having, I'm not pressing the right place. We're having 5 volts, of course. We're having 3 volts. Yes. If we didn't, we couldn't have the other voltages. This is the charging coil. And I will remove the heatsink in order to check for the CPU coils if something is generated or not. The heatsink is off. I'll grab my probes and check on the coils. The coils are dead. Are not generating any voltage, of course. So we are having 55 to 60 milliamps with no generation of the V core. The main rail is reaching the MOSFET, or the MOSFETs, of course, the drivers for the phases of the CPU, but nothing is going on. So I will try and reflash the Super IO. This is not, some of you will say that will not help, of course, but better feel safe than sorry. So I will reprogram the Super IO. I will download, I will try download, but in vain, the EC BIOS from the board that I'm having in front of me is not present. There is no EC BIOS for this board. So I will download a BIOS, a simple bin file that we're flashing the main BIOS, and I will extract the EC BIOS from it. You can see we are in the page for this notebook, for the PDFs, the board views, the ROMs, whatever, but the EC BIOS is not present. So I will download a main BIOS and I will extract the EC BIOS from it. Sometimes I'm lazy, or I can admit that, but could extract the Lenovo BIOS from the vendor side, but it's much easier to download it ready-made from someone else, and I will try that. I have already backed up the original BIOS from this board, but as I need the easy BIOS, I will extract it from every main BIOS that is suitable for this machine, and I will do so. I have already read the BIOS, the easy BIOS, and stored it, and I will now load the main BIOS and extract. I will not show the full procedure because it's not the scope of this video. Maybe some other time I will make a video for it. So I will extract the easy BIOS from the main BIOS, the easy BIOS from IT chip for the IT chip. And now I will try to find the start of the easy BIOS. And there it is. And I will copy the 128K. And I will copy it, I will make a new file, I will paste the 128K's data, and I will save it. Okay, it's a trial version, that's okay for me. Press the yes, okay, I have pressed the yes, and now I will save the cBIOS. The other BIOS is what I have backed up. I'm always backing up the original data. It's a good drill. Now I will open my SVOD and I will take this new EC BIOS, and of course SVOD cannot use it because I have already opened the hex editor. You can see. So I will close the hex editor and use my edited EC BIOS. Okay. Now I will press the right and start programming the EC BIOS. And when this is over, we will check what we have done. The scope of programming the Super IO, it is BIOS inside. Okay, maybe it's turning on with low amps, but who knows? The main BIOS didn't help, the EC BIOS could help. And now I will unplug my SVOD, programmer, power off the machine, unplug the keyboard connector, unplug the USB from the ground, for the ground, and I will plug the charger. I'm always optimist, so I will screw the heatsink. If the CPU works, I don't want to be overheated. So after the heatsink is on, I will plug my charger. Power supply does not show anything because it's stuck. The procedure is the same. I will press the power button, but nothing will happen. So I will go to plan B. The plan B is that after I have checked the phase controller for the CPU coils, I will try to find another way to diagnose. I am unplugging the battery in order to check if we are having a charge. We are having an orange light, if you see, but we're not having anything. I now have noticed that my power supply is not displayed properly, so I will fix it right now. And you can see that we're having 900, almost an amp for charging the battery, which is a good sign that the main BIOS, the architecture is working for the charging, and usually it is a good sign that it is not that no IC is burned or something. You can see everything is working, but we're having low amp consumption when we are pressing the power button, and all the coils are working instead of the CPU. What we are going to check is in volts, of course. If we are having a main power supply connected on the IC, and we are having the VCC is present, we will check for the enable somewhere here. Let me check the board view. And we are having the enable signal, we are having a VCC, we are having enable signal, and let me check the LDO for this IC. Where is it? No, it's there, and I think we're not having, I'm not pressing well. No, we're having 5 volts there. So the main requirements are present, but we are having 2 supplies and an enable signal and no phase generation, no voltage on the phase coils on the CPU. So what I'm going to do now is a very brave decision, but with a very low temperature. Okay, I'm taking my heat gun, I will remove the heatsink, and I will slightly heat the CPU in order for something to be hot and change the size of the material. So maybe something is not properly attached, whatever. I am using the hot air 50% and the temperature is 220 Celsius. It is not able to melt anything on the CPU, of course, but will make it hot. And maybe the BGA balls change slightly their size, and maybe the resin beneath the CPU move a bit and see something different on the amps consumption. I am hitting the CPU all around and in the crystal. Don't afraid the crystal with the 220. I don't want you to try to reflow a CPU because the resin beneath the CPU will make the things worse. In Lenovo, they are using a black residue that it's very, very difficult to be removed. So the reflow will make the things worse. I will try to power on the board and check for voltage coils. I will plug the charger. You can see that it's not turning on immediately. I will press the power button. Press the power button. You can see the same reaction, the 50 to 60 milliamps consumption. the heating of the CPU with 220 Celsius didn't go well, and I will try to heat up the CPU with 250. Okay, 240 is the melting point of the BGA balls, but okay, for a large IC, with this temperature, I will not do anything to harm the CPU, believe me. And for the time I am using my heat gun with the 250 Celsius, it will not harm anything. I'm heating the crystal also. Nothing will harm the CPU with that temperature and that amount of time. Okay, I want to be sure that the CPU is hot, and now I will try the same thing. I will try to power on and check for voltage coil. Different consumption standby, you can see. And we're having an on-off. You saw that we're having an on-off because maybe the CPU is hot. Let's press again. Yes, and the fan is spinning. So maybe if we cool down a bit the CPU, but not very cool, in order for the temperature to work on it, I will put a thermal pad on it, a big one, and press the power button. We are having good amps, but no display. Okay, maybe the BIOS I have programmed on it is not good, as I have stated, but I will program the original on it and check again. Let me do so. It's not raining, it's not doing anything, so I think I have changed already the BIOS. And let's check if something is different. I will hold the thermal pad. Oh, wow, yes, Lenovo, you can see it. And something is telling me about new processor, but maybe it's the BIOS. And we are having a display that it is very good. And the diagnosis for this is that the CPU is not properly attached on its place. So I think we must rebuild this thing, but it is not my decision, it's our customer decision. If he wants me to proceed with the rebuild, I will do so. If he will not, if he does not want, I will not, of course, but the diagnosis is very straight. I will power off the machine because okay, consumption is not very good. I will power off the machine. Now, press again. We are having good amps. Yes, we are having again the Lenovo splash screen. So, the answer for this low power consumption, low amps consumption, is the CPU is not attached. That was it. That was the diagnosis, as you saw. If you like this video, consider like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching. See you in another repair. Bye.